Right, 2 days down, 2 to go. How are you going? Hopefully you've had some winners and you've got some money in the bank for the final 2 days of the Cheltenham Festival. Paul Linehan, well done to you. You found 2 winners on Wednesday's card, Factifile and Ballyburn. You're going to win yourself 2 tickets to the Boyle Sports Irish Grand National on Easter Monday. Right, it's day 3 action, and we're not going to waste any time. We're, of course, brought to you in association with our partners, Boyle Sports, our betting partner, Syndicate Start Racing. We've got Gorham Park Racecourse and KCLR Radio. Barry Doyle, as always, is with me to look ahead to Thursday's card. Barry, we're going to kick off with the Turner's Novices Chase. Facile Vega for Willie Mullins, who is 100 not out at Cheltenham after Patrick took out the bumper on Wednesday evening in dramatic fashion. Brilliant performance by Patrick. Great ride by him. What's your take on the opening race on Thursday?
100 not out, as you mentioned, a serious achievement, first of all, David. Obviously, made up for El Fabiolo's mishap for the double green as well. It's amazing the way a couple of hours can swing around, and obviously a great story, with Patrick bringing up the 100 for Willie. A couple of, market movers, David, before we move on to the Turners, because 7-2 for next year's Turners, Ballyburn, off the back of that emphatic performance earlier on. In fact, to file, we said 16-1 if you wanted to take him for the related double for the Brown Advisory and the Gold Cup. He was so impressive. He's now 5-1 for the Gold Cup. So we hope punters listening took our advice, because I think he'll be a huge player in next year's Gold Cup. What a performance it was. Right. Yeah, the Turners this year, David, look, to me, it doesn't look the strongest of races. And obviously we've seen the Skeltons. They've had a double on the card today. And I'm going to just about side with the proven stayer in the race. Obviously, it's going to be still soft ground, more rain scheduled tomorrow. And I'm going to just about side with Grey Dawning in the race, who's proven over further. Thought he should have bet Ginny's Destiny back in December on the new course at Cheltenham. But for that, I suppose, jumping mistake at a crucial point in the race, he was given weight away on that occasion. I don't like Facile Vega over fences. I think back over hurdles next year, he could be a force over longer trips. And Ginny's Destiny, I just wonder, is he vulnerable to be picked up by Grey Dawning or Rocco? That could be the real springer if there's cash around for that tomorrow. But experience over fences would have to be a worry, David. I'd be just about against him, I suppose, coming into the race like this off his preparation. But the English, the British, should I say, have a decent record in the Turners in recent seasons. They've taken 3 of the last 5. But going to side with the informed team, the Skeltons, 5-2, ground trip. I think everything will be okay for this Grey Dawning. He wouldn't be the strongest fancy you have on the day, but I do think he's every chance of winning this. I'm hoping for a Limerick-like performance at the Cheltenham Festival, David. A second-half performance Thursday. I think gearing up to the Cheltenham Festival, Thursday was always going to be probably the most important day for my punting. But Grey Dawning, not my strongest pick on day 3, but nonetheless 5-2, he goes into the team sheet.
Yeah, Ginny's Destiny all day for me. I think Paul Nicholls and Harry Cobden are going to take out this opening race. I'm like you, I can't be in the Facile Vega camp, but maybe we're wrong in saying that, considering the week that Willie Mullins is having. But it is Ginny's Destiny for me in that opener. Right, we've got some race to dilute in the 210, the Pertemps handicap hurdle. And because I'm so nice, I'm going to give you first dibs. But, I suppose, you know what? I'm not actually. I'm going to give my selection. And I think Ted Walsh could have a big say here in this one. Gwyeth Cool is an interesting runner. Winner 2 starts ago, Barry. Second last time out. And that and Gabby's Cross, Henry de Bromhead, Rachel Blackmore. What a week they've had this week. Darragh O'Keefe, of course, is on board Gabby's Cross. And I know he was on our podcast a few weeks ago, and he was pretty sweet about the chances of this one.
Well, he said it was his best chance at a winner all week, and of a winner, should I say, all week. And Henry's horse is absolutely flying it. Of his horses at the festival, 4 placed and 2 winners so far. So horses running out of their skin at the moment. Gabby's Cross. Look, he got £6 tax by the British handicapper, but I suppose what that has done is ensured that he's got into the actual race itself. And you mentioned Gwyeth Key. Look, I suppose one of the big stat I took from, I suppose, doing the stats ahead of the Pertemps is only 2 of the last 22 winners have actually won a qualifier. So I like a horse maybe building towards, I'm not going to say a career best, but certainly a best effort of the season. In a race like this. And I think Gabby's Cross, look, he peaked at 144 over fences. And I just think he could be well treated off his current mark. He's been given a British mark of 133. He was staying on second at Punchestown. I thought he ran a cracker to qualify. And obviously, Dara very sweet on his chances on the podcast last week. I think, look, at 10-1 each way, I think is good value for a team, obviously, that have been performing very well at the Cheltenham Festival so far. But the other one to mention, look, one team that are struggling this week is the Seven Barrows team and Nicky Henderson. I quite liked Chantry House for this for quite some time. He's drifting like he lost the leg. No surprises looking at the runners, obviously. Plenty of non-runners today, and they could have further non-runners in the week, and plenty pulled up yesterday as well, as I mentioned. So, look, that's a horse. It's funny, like a couple of the Nicky Henderson horses have run well. The likes of Lucky Place in the Coral Cup, Lucia Place in the Champion Hurdle. If Chantry Foot was to put his best foot forward, he could be well treated. I have him in the Road to Cheltenham Challenge at 10-1, but in terms of backing him tomorrow, he's drifting. It'd be a big negative, the stable form for me. So Gabby's Cross each way 10-1, and I think it's a lively chance.
Right, let's move on to the Ryanair. It's the Grade 1 contest. Envoiallen, top of the market, well found for a stable in form in Henry de Bromhead. Rachel Blackmore on board. The ground, I think, is going to be against Banbridge, Barry. Is it for Joseph O'Brien and for JJ Slevin?
I think so, and there's question marks about a couple of them. I mean, Capadano, I think he'll be better over further. Banbridge, you mentioned, obviously, the ground. And Stage Star, obviously, coming in off the back of, a poor performance at Cheltenham when he was last seen. So obviously he's coming in fresh to the race. He was a festival winner from last year, but I don't like his prep, and Paul Nicholls' horses aren't exactly flying it at the Cheltenham Festival this week. So I just think Envoiallen is a solid horse. I mean, 4-1, I can see him going off favourite, and I can see him going off a lot shorter tomorrow. Looking at the Henry de Bromhead stable form, he's 3-4 at the Cheltenham Festival. He landed the bumper, obviously. He landed the Ballymore Novice Hurdle over 2.5, and he won the Ryanair last year. I don't think he got the credit he deserved last year in the Ryanair. Coming up the hill, and he only got 2 flicks from Rachel Blackmore. I thought it was hands and heels, really, in truth. And he jumped like a stag. He'll go on the ground. They say he could be better on nicer ground, but he's proven form on many occasions on soft ground. I just think he's the one to be with at 4-1, and he'd be one of my better plays of day 3 of the Cheltenham Festival.
Yes, and I have to agree. I think he's the solid option in that Ryanair. The Stayers Hurdle, it's the feature, isn't it, on day 3? It's the Grade 1 contest, and it's another intriguing race. I know you've been very sweet on the chance of teahupoo. Irish Point, we saw run on Tuesday in the Champion Hurdle, finished second. He was probably going to be one of the dangers if he had lined up here. Teahupoo, he's done it all, hasn't he, this season? He is a very short price, in around 7-4, 2-1. Are you in the teahupoo camp for the Stayers, Barry?
I very much am. I think he's the right favourite, and I think he'll probably get a better price in the morning, David. I could see him drifting simply because the race is very, very competitive. Noble Yates, Emmett Mullins had a winner at Cheltenham so far this season. He could be maybe a dark one for the race, although Sam Majes maybe let the form down today. Looking at the Stayers Hurdle as a whole, Crambo is a horse that we probably don't fully know how good that horse could be. It turned into a little bit of a sprint on his last start over 3 miles. He was majorly up in class, but he delivered, and he showed a good attitude to win. Looking at teahupoo, what we didn't mention about Envoiallen in the previous races is record fresh. I mean, Envoiallen's record fresh, he's 4-5 off the back of 100+ day absence. And if you look at teahupoo, he's been trained for the race, and he's 4-4 off the back of a 90+ day absence. So I think the fresh angle going into Thursday, I'm hoping for a clean slate for the second half of the week, David. And I think teahupoo, that's a big plus in his corner, is the fact that they've trained him for the race. He's a 6-time graded winner. He won the Grade 1, the Hatton's Grace back-to-back, a Galmoy winner as well, handles the conditions. I mean, he's got his ground. That's the big thing with teahupoo. It's 7-4. Certainly wouldn't be taking him on, but I wouldn't be ploughing in at that price because I think it's very, very competitive. You can make a case for plenty. And if you look at the history of the Stayers Hurdle, it can throw up a result as well. It's a big price result. 6 of the last 10 winners returned 10-1 or bigger, but he has the right profile. He's the rightful favourite. He was second in the race last year, and I think he can go on better for Gordon Elliott and perhaps give them their first winner of the week. Their horses are running well, but he'll be very disappointed that he hasn't got on the board as of yet.
I think so. He'll really want to get a winner on day 3. I think you're right. It's one of those races. teahupoo will probably drift on the morning of the race, and I think others to consider. You can make a case for many of these in here because on their day they are good. I'm going to go with Crambo, and the other one I quite like is Noble Yates. I know that form might have been let down a little, but I do think Noble Yates, the ground won't be a problem. We know for Emmett Mullins' charge, he's booked Harry Cobden for the ride. and Harry Cobden, I'm sure, will be delighted. So Crambo and Noble Yates.
Sir Gerhard, David, obviously has to be mentioned as well, stepping up in trip. He's coming here fresh as well. And obviously Flooring Porter, they've reverted back over hurdles. He's going for his third win in the race. So it is very, very competitive. And then you're down to the likes of last year's winner, Sir de Burley and Paisley Park. So Teahupoo, he's short for it, but he has the ground and he has the right profile for the race. I'd say he'll be hard bet.
I think so. Well, as I said, he certainly is the one you'd like to be on. And as I said, Crambo and Noble Yates, the other two that I quite like in the race. Right, the 410 is a Premier Handicap, Barry. And my biggest bet of the week comes here, would you believe, in the JP McManus colours. Crebilly, John Joe O'Neill, junior and senior team up here. I think this has all the right credentials for this race. I think he's going to win, and I think he's going to win impressively in this one. I know it's competitive, big field of horses, and I know the one that you quite like here is Theatre Man, the Mount of Harry Cobden.
Yeah, we're at loggerheads here, David, because Theatre Man is my nap pick of the Thursday, and it's up there. Well, it's the next best of the week. So we've got it at each way nap for the festival. Lecky Watson runs on the Friday. I think he'll hit the frame. We'll come on to Friday's card, of course, tomorrow as we record it. But Theatre Man, I mean, all eyes on Ginny's Destiny and how he runs, of course, and Grey Dawning and the Turners earlier on in the card, because obviously that has form tied in with Theatre Man, who was, he was a real eye catcher on the new course in January, of course, when last seen over 2.5 miles, and stayed on really, really well. Obviously, he was entered in the Ultima. They've come here instead. I think the soft ground, he's a strong stay-in 2.5 miler. And well, he absolutely devoured the hit. And what I like about Theatre Man is he makes ground at every single one of his fences. That's not something you can say about Crebilly. But I tell you one thing, David, we've seen horses who we've grabbed their jumping, at this festival improve, the likes of Corbett's Cross. When his jumping needed to be right, it was yesterday, and we saw it today as well with Pat Doro, who ran a cracking race in the Grand Annual as well. So maybe we'll see a better jump performance from Crebilly. But I think, in truth, I think there's a lot of deadwood in the race, David, and I just think Theatre Man, awful low weight. Harry Cobden booked for the ride. That's definitely a positive. Over 2.5 miles. I say he'll be staying on. And I think more of an aggressive ride from Cobden. We see him do it time and time again so effectively. It's a specialised trip on that new course, 2.5 miles. I think Theatre Man will be banged there, 4-1. I think there's more question marks about Crebilly's jumping than Theatre Man. And he has a nice weight on his back, 10 stone 13.
Yeah, I'm going to still going to stick with Crebilly as my best bet of the day on Thursday for John Joe O'Neill Jr. and Senior.
One of us will surely click.
One of us surely will click, or else we'll be brought out the back of the television. You never know. But one for me, Barry, in the grade 2, the 450, is the Ryanair Mayor's Novice Hurdle. If Gordon Elliott hasn't got a winner by this stage at 450 on Thursday, he's going to have one at around 457, because this Brighter Days Ahead, for me, under Jack Kennedy in the Jigginstown House colours, who'll also be keen to get a winner, I think it's probably an absolute penalty kick in this. Am I wrong in saying that?
I think it's between the top two in the market, and if Teahupoo wins, Brighter Days Ahead will definitely go off favoured, and so that's why we should take SP on Jade de Grugy, because Willie Mullins, look, he's taken out another one with Patrick in the bumper as we're speaking today, and I just think Jade de Grugy could be his best chance, in my opinion, of a winner on day 3 of the Cheltenham Festival. I mean, she's unbeaten in 2 for Willie Mullins. She showed her stamina at Leopardstown over 2.5. She proved to have such a vital turn of foot as well at Fairyhouse off a slow pace over 2 miles and 2 furlongs when last seen, of course, in the Sol Arena. And looking at the Sol Arena as well, it's a real good trial. 2 of the 8 winners of the Mayor's Novices Hurdle at Cheltenham came via the Sol Arena route from Fairyhouse. So this mare, I just think, I've said it a couple of times, any track, any trip, any ground, I just think she's going to be so effective. And, Vroom Vroom Mag, I think she reminds me a little bit of her. She was quite similar. And I'm beginning to fall in love with this mare, Jade de Grugy, David. I'll take SB tomorrow. There's a lot of hype about the, obviously, Brighter Days Ahead. She was brilliant in bumpers. She had a bit of a setback and then reappeared at Navan this season. It was very, very good, in particular in the jumping stakes over 2.5 miles. But this Jade de Grugy is a fair horse, and I think she'll put it up to Brighter Days Ahead. And at SP tomorrow, second favourite, especially with the offer as well, Boyle Sports money back, if second to the SP favourite. I think this could be an absolute model, because I definitely think it's between the 2 Irish mares.
Yeah, second and third, of course, in many of the races at Cheltenham. Barry, what about, just before we finish on this one, what about Dysart Enos for Fergal O'Brien and Paddy Brennan? Could that come into the mix?
Doesn't have to carry the penalty, which is a positive, but I just think the two Irish mares could be different league. Could be wrong.
I think brighter days ahead to beat Jade the Grugy in a straight forecast in that one if you want to play on that, but brighter days ahead. And Crebilly, I'm going to be bold. I'm going to put in Crebilly and brighter days ahead as the double for the Thursday at the Cheltenham Festival. Right, we're on to the 5:30 then for amateur jockeys. Kim Muir and a massive field line up here in this one. Am I right for Henry de Bromhead? I thought was quite interesting in this one. A number 5 on the card tomorrow. But really, Barry, you can make a case for plenty of these. And the one I thought, again, just of another one before I get your thoughts on it, I thought Gordon Elliott with Harry Swan on board on Cool Survivor and the Jigginstown. I thought there was lots to like about a couple of the runs of late. And I just thought in off 11 stone 6, that could be competitive with plenty of extra place value to be had with Boyle Sports as well on that final race on Thursday.
I spoke to Gavin Cromwell down in Gorn Park last weekend, and he did say that I know the way you're thinking is his best chance of a winner for the week. It gets in off 1:45. The Irish record in the race is quite strong in the Kim Muir. Look, I suppose, of the runners last year, 9 Irish runners in the Kim Muir 2023, and the Irish train filled the first 7 places. But the one thing to note about Cheltenham this year, I know we spoke a lot about Willie Mullins and the Irish domination, but of the 4 handicaps, the British have won 3 of the 4 handicaps at the festival. So don't give up on some of the English runners in here. And the one I like at a bit of a price, 12-1, David, Ben Pauling's Charge, Bow to Greatness, 9 starts over fences, still a maiden over fences, similar to Pat Dora going into the Grand Annual today. But I just think he could be teed up for the run of his life after, in particular, he shaped very, very well over 2.5 miles in that exact same race that we spoke about. Ginny's Destiny was the winner, and staying on was Theatre Man. So Bow to Greatness was an eye catcher on that occasion, and ran an absolute cracker in the new course last year as well in the plate. So this is a big step up in trip, and I just think coming in here off its rating, and has a nice weight on its back as well, just 11 stone 2. Jack Andrews on board. Ben Pauling's horses have been flying all season long, and he's you were on the show, David, when we had him on the show. He did mention this as a horse that was lined up for a big run in a race like this, and shaped very well at Kempton as well. The report afterwards was he blew up 2 out, and I'd say he could strip a lot fitter. He's a hard horse to get fit and could be hitting the frame here at 14-1 each way. So I think even though the Irish have had a really good record in this race in recent seasons, 14-1, that would be my biggest price each way bet of the day, David.
Lovely, Barry. Well, that is the day 3 picks for you. We hope you find some winners among those selections. And of course, keep an eye out for Gold Cup preview coming on Champ.ie. Barry, it's been a pleasure as always. Don't forget, of course, all of you listening to the show, to subscribe. We want you to put in your entries for the 7 races on day 3. 2 winners or more will put you in with a chance of being drawn out for 2 tickets to the Boyle Sports Irish Grand National on Easter Monday. And wouldn't it be nice to be heading off there on Easter Monday to the Boyle Sports Irish Grand National? From Barry and I, have a good evening.